Are we starting? Hello, hello. I didn't expect so many of you that will come, and I have mixed feelings because on one hand I am really grateful and I really appreciate because I'm aware this is the last day and we all are tired, but on the other hand I think that I will probably jump down in panic from this stage. Yeah, as Megan said, my name is Nina. And this is my super backend ninja.
I'm Luka.
I'm a designer at Reversing Labs. I seriously doubt that there is any of you that haven't heard for our company because we had such an amazing crowd both days on our booths, and we also have the best merch, as you can see. And there will be an opportunity for all of you. I mean, not all of you, just couple of you who will ask a question for Luka, not me, Luka. Our company is Reversing Labs. We are a cybersecurity company founded some 16 years ago in Zagreb, but we also do have offices in Boston, USA.
And Switzerland.
And we also have some really interesting open positions, so find us later if we will be here, or Google us. As you can imagine, we deal with a large number of files and reports generated by our static analysis engine produce a massive amount of data. And beyond storing and retrieving that much data efficiently, we also need to find a way to shape it and summarize it in a way that will allow our end users to be
proactive.
Not proactive, but to understand the data. But today we won't talk too much about cybersecurity. We are here to talk how good user experience and bad one even more can have an impact on your API design, your query optimization, and your performance requirements.
Well, basically everything you do is constrained by what you are fixing. So the problem that you are trying to fix often seeps into your model of the world that you are trying to solve. If you don't include your users or your developers early on in the stage, you can have a mess of things, and then later on it will be quite difficult to fix it. So we'll try to share some tips and tricks on how to avoid it and what to look after while you are building whatever you are building.
Yeah, but first thing first, what is user experience? Yeah, I know we all are familiar with the common points between user experience and the front end, but on a more deeper and fundamental level, user experience is about understanding and managing complex problems within a human context. Is there any designer here in the crowd today with us? No? Okay. Have anybody heard or even read this book, The Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman? Nice, thank you. Don Norman is a legendary figure in the world of UX, and the people who read this book, it changed their views about how they see things. It was written in 1988, and I really warmly recommend reading it. But I will start by paraphrasing the very first sentence in that book. If I were placed in the cockpit of a modern jet airplane, my inability to perform well would neither bother me nor surprise me. Because after all, I'm not a pilot, and I don't expect to be able to operate an aircraft. Fair enough. But imagine now that you're standing in front of a coffee machine, and all you want is a nice hot cup of coffee. If you are not able to get your cup of coffee within a few seconds and with a single button press, you would end up really frustrated. Another classic example from this book are these elevator panels. I know that I would hesitate a bit in front of them because which button takes me up and which button takes me down? Or famously called Norman's door, with handlebars that are clearly designed to indicate you need to pull in order to open the door. And you start pulling and nothing happens, and you pull even harder, and you are confused because it still doesn't open the door, and you see a little push sign, and you are confused, and you lost already a couple of precious seconds of your life. You shouldn't think that hard for such a simple task. Both you and I, we need everyday objects to be intuitive. I expect a good design to guide me and not to confuse me. What just happened?
Good design.
That's why we have usability heuristics. In the background, they seem irrelevant, but their impact is whether a product you design or develop will feel intuitive, trustworthy, and enjoyable, or confusing and frustrating. So what are heuristics? Focus on humans. Do you want me to start talking about real life, or you want to just jump in backend?
I'm too young to be talking about real life, so I can talk about mistakes, so you can feel free to start.
I just wanted to, what is human-centered design? For example, public transportation system puts stops where people need them the most, with clear schedules and ticket machines that are easy to use. In UI design, you have food delivery app that is simple to use because it allows users to reorder their favorites, to filter by dietary needs, and so on. And the backend?
Well, when you speak about user experience, you often think about the end user, the customer who pays for your product. And regularly, we forget about your fellow developers. They are also users of your program because you need to collaborate with them. So user experience is not only what you see in the end game, but it is throughout the whole process of development. You need to be able to communicate clearly what it is you are solving, how it is that you are solving that problem, and how do you collaborate with people? How do you make that easier? So developer experience is user experience. Developers are users. Developers are human beings so far until we are all replaced with AI. But then also you need to be very, very careful not to forget about your colleagues. You need to be able to be clear, concise, precise so that everybody can use your product. Your code is also your product. Not only the end, but the code itself needs to be maintainable, clear, concise, and fixable. So don't forget about your colleagues.
Affordances and signifiers. Here I am again with handlebars that are clearly shaped that you need to push them, or you all are sitting in a chair because chair is clearly constructed that you can sit on it. Or you have a UI send button with distinctive color and a little paper airplane icon that indicates you need to click on it in order to send something.
On the backend side of things, you need to communicate with possibly front-end, mobile apps, other. If you're developing a library, then your API is your point of entry. So it needs to be clear. Your naming needs to be precise and understandable. Your HTTP, if you are using HTTP, you are using all the verbs. There's no such thing as get and post only. There's delete, there's head, there's put, there's patch. So please use them. Also, if you are using HTTP, there are something called status codes. Not only 200 OK people, yes, please. You know, there's like 418, like I'm a teapot. Use that sometimes. You need to be clear and understandable, not only to your end users, but I say again, to your colleagues. Not everything is used by Pero from Vrsi. Something is used by Pero from Bokanjac, who is a developer and who is using your library. And your library also needs to be clear, concise, and understandable. So naming, camel casing. Don't mix verbs and nouns, please. And also, use documentation, please. If you are developing something, document it properly and maintain that documentation. That is part of the user experience. Again, developers are users.
Constraints and mappings. A real-life example is a USB plug that is shaped that you can insert it only one way, even though I always go the wrong way, or in UI.
At least 3 times, yes.
Yeah, and on the wrong side also. An UI example would be, I don't know, phone number input field that allows only digits, so it's preventing users to enter wrong characters.
On the backend side, we are all aware of the input validation. People sometimes forget that there are 3 parts to every software. One is the front-end, one is the backend, and the third one is database. So don't validate once, validate at least 6 times. So every input, even if it's your own function, needs to be validated. And make sure it's valid. But how? How? Make sure that when you validate something, you return a meaningful error message. Again, communication is key, not only to your user developers, but to yourself. Because if you get an error, 200 OK, and then there's a text, your phone is invalid in this country, does that mean something? No, it means nothing. You failed miserably. So please, if you are using your validation, make it return meaningful error messages that are actionable. So you don't need to think, you need to act. If the input is invalid, make sure you know exactly where did you mess up. So.
Feedback and conceptual models. Elevators do light up when the right floor is on, in a real-life example, and UI, toast notification when something is saved, or error message when something went wrong. That would be like clear feedback.
Also, clear feedback is code review. Please use it. So every time you are developing something, you need to make sure that it's maintainable. So consistent responses also mean consistent communication with your fellow colleagues, your developers, your documentation team, and the support team. Please, include your support team. Noticeably, I am excluding QA from this because QA is a process, not a team. So QA is something that you need to include in your development process, not hire somebody to test and then call it QA. That's not QA, that's testing. And that's a whole different thing. And we will not go into testing because I will get angry and then we will stay here for 2 days. So also, please, be consistent. If you are using error messages, please use simple words, concise, clean error messages. They need to be detailed. Also, if you are developing library, please update your documentation regularly with examples, clear, concise, simple examples that your users can use. For example, your entry page in your company needs to provide simple, clear explanation what it is that you are doing. Not scrollable through 15 pages of AI nonsense to get to the point. So nobody's going to use that. So please, 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 be thorough, detailed, and concise. Thank you.
Design for error. ATMs machines, they dispense cash only after your bank card was pulled, preventing that way that the user, me, will forget bank card and bank information. And UI, we love to have the same patterns throughout the whole app, throughout the whole product. So be consistent. That's one of the last rules.
Also, in this day and age, we, of course, are daily reminded that there is no such thing as quick and easy. Everything is hosted somewhere, so you need to make sure that you know that every part of your software will fail eventually. We are using network HTTP requests, TCP handshakes on a daily basis. We were reminded recently how a simple, misguided test certificate can bring chaos to the world. So you need to make sure that every part of your software and your software supply and your development process is capable of handling errors, because they will occur, and they will occur when you don't want them. Usually at noon while we are at lunch, something will go off, and then you'll have to, dish this 20 euros Burex and go back to your work. You don't want that. You want to eat in peace, enjoy your life. Life is short, and you need to be able to enjoy it. So, prepare for the worst. And, standardizing error codes, responses, handle errors, and you will have a quiet, peaceful life, boring life, and it will be brilliant. So, prepare for the worst.
Do you really need a designer? How did your life look without me?
Well, it was boring, for one, and the other thing is, it was scary. We usually think that we developers know everything and that we can fix any problem if you just throw enough code at it. Usually it sticks, and it's called production code, or, in books it's called spaghetti code or vibe coding, or, something that, you need to maintain. But do you actually understand what it is that you are fixing? Who told you? Did you dreamt it? Or are you actually fixing a problem that users said it is what they want? Or you said, okay, you need something like Jira, and then you throw tickets, and then you develop something, push it to production, and then blame the user for not understanding what it is that you built. No, no, no. It's the other way around. You need to understand the business process. You need to understand what it is that you are solving, and then take your experience, your knowledge, and then ask somebody who's smarter than you, and that's usually UX designer, to help you fix the problem in such a way that your backend code does not do 25 database requests per one HTTP request and returns 100 megabytes of JSON for something that says, please sign up here. So, yes, you do need UX designer, yes.
Yeah, that's true. Why? Because it's all about theory with us. In the ideal hypothetical world, design process has 6 key stages. In the first step, whatever you like, you need to understand users' needs. You also need to learn product's purpose, and you need to understand problem before trying to find a solution. On the second step, you gather previous findings to create a research plan. You do qualitative research, you do quantitative research, you define your goals, wants, needs, journey maps, diagrams, personas. Then you come to ideation. You do rough layouts. You create some sort of solution. You do more brainstorming, you do rough sketches, more team communications, and so on. Then, fourth step, Figma, high fidelity prototypes, working prototypes, and you create accessible design. On the fifth step, you go back to your users to gather feedback. Does it even work? Does it solve product's purpose? And only final step, you put your vision into effect. But as I mentioned, this is a textbook version. Oftentimes, products, features, they need to be shipped quickly. Yeah.
Quickly.
To be shipped quickly, and iterations are fast. oftentimes things are defined on the go, and to avoid this shortcut,
Or not defined at all.
And to avoid this shortcut cycle, ideate, implement, or fixing errors, cross-team collaboration is important because when we communicate and work together, we keep our focus on the user and to solving the right problem.
This is actually what you do when you start. This is how I started. I started fixing things, then I implemented that, and then I fixed the implementation, then I implemented the fix, then I fixed the implementation, and then I had an idea what it is that I'm trying to do. And I went back and fixed that idea, then I implemented it, then fixed it. So basically this is, modern day development with AIs. You have an idea, you prompt AI agent, then you fix that, and then you reiterate. Yeah, we need to mention AI because everybody's mentioning AI.
Yeah, what we are trying to avoid is for our users to feel like beta testers of our mistakes and to product to feel trustworthy. Yeah, you need to ask yourself few questions before you even start coding or designing. Are we solving the right problem? Are we making something that truly helps our users? Because what does a user want? A product that solves a problem and a product that they will be able to understand.
And it needs to be easy to use.
Yeah.
And
beautiful.
Yeah, everybody hates Jira for a reason. So don't make your product next Jira. Make your product next grep. Everybody knows how to use grep, even though it has various options, and most of you don't even know how many options does it have, but because you don't need them, because it's so simple to use on the go. And then after you start asking, can it do more? Yes, it can. But it's so simple to use that it hooks you on. And then you use it. And then you grow with it. And it actually helps you be a better developer. So please, keep that in mind. Are you solving the problem correctly on the first time? I think it's Kent Beck that says you need to first make it work, then make it correct, and then if you have time and money, make it fast. So the first 2 points are crucial. First, it needs to work, so you get paid. Then it needs to work correctly, so you get paid even better, more, and often. And then if you have, those 2 first steps, then you have money and you can make it fast. So it will attract more users. But it needs to be usable. If nobody can use it, nobody will pay you, except if you're Confluence then.
Yeah, and since everybody was using some kind of AI-generated images, we also wanted to
finally
put something in our presentation. But basically, this is all